عليكم.
Good evening, Ramadan Kareem, and welcome to the Tower of David Museum. My name is Eilat Lieber, and I have the honor to be the director of this museum. Located in the ancient citadel of Jerusalem, the Tower of David tells the full story of the history of Jerusalem, 4,000 years of history. This beautiful ancient citadel actually represents all the layers from the history of Jerusalem. Rich history, first 1,000 years of Jewish history, then Christianity, and then Islam. That's why this is the perfect meeting point to celebrate the three Abrahamic religions festivals. Usually we welcome hundreds of thousands of pilgrims, visitors, and believers coming to Jerusalem to celebrate the holy places. But this year is different. And since the COVID-19 pandemic, people cannot visit the holy city, the holy places. Here at the Tower of David, the gateway to Jerusalem, we invite you to celebrate the Iftar this evening with us. I would like to invite Dr. Yehuda Stolov, Executive Director of the Interfaith Encounter Association, our partner to this evening.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone.
The Interfaith Encounter Association works for more than 18 years to build intercommunal bridges of friendship and mutual care between neighbors in the Holy Land. We do that mostly through ongoing groups that bring together neighboring communities for ongoing encounter about religion and faith and culture. Our oldest group works for 17 years. And we established until now 106 groups throughout the Holy Land. Since the year 2005, so 15 years from now, we organize every year annual Iftar where we invite people from all our groups to come together, break bread together, celebrate together with our Muslim brothers and sisters the breaking of the fast. This year, we already planned several months ago to do it in cooperation with the Tower of David. Originally, we thought we will all be together and we will be physically eating bread together, but unfortunately, this is not possible. So we are still eating together, but each of us in our own place. We do have the advantage that comes because of that people even who are more far away, who could not come to Jerusalem anyway, are still able to join us. I want also to mention that for many years we used to celebrate this event in a specific day during the month where there was also a Jewish fast. So there were Jews and Muslims breaking the fast together. But in the last few years, this is not happening. So we are celebrating it just any time. I would like to ask Dr. Taleb Al-Harithi to present the prayer that ends the fasting, and after that we can start our meal.
اللهم ابعد عنا المرض وآلامه واشف اللهم كل مريض يتألم ولا يتكلم ولا يعلم بحاله إلا أنت اللهم يا من شفيت أيوب من علله وجعلت النار بردا وسلاما على أبينا إبراهيم أبعد عنا هذا الوباء الخطير فأنت الشافي وأنت العافي ولا مفر لنا من قضائك إلا إليك. O Holy One, drive away from us all forms of sickness and disease. Restore strength to our body and joy to our spirit, so that in our renewed health we may bless and serve you now and forever.
Okay, we wish those who fasted and everyone else enjoy your food, your meal that you prepared. While you are eating, we will be enjoying more music.
Here at the Tower of David Museum, we work together every day, side by side, people from all the communities of the city, Jewish people, Christians, and Muslims. We hope and pray to be able to meet here again soon as possible, to engage our visitors from all over the world with the story of Jerusalem. I would like to invite Rabbi Yakov Nagen to send his blessing for Iftar.
Ramadan Kareem. Every year I am deeply moved by Ramadan, especially when I see the Muslim workers sweating under a hot sun and I know that all month they're fasting. These people teach me that faith in God could give us power to do very difficult things. When a person believes that there's something which is greater than himself, he's able to go beyond himself. And what I especially appreciate about Ramadan, from careful study of the sources, because I know that Ramadan is not only a time that we get closer to God, but a time we get closer to one another. The blessing given in Ramadan, Ramadan Karim, means Karim is in Hebrew nadiv, generous, or a Ramadan of generosity. Ramadan is a time of generosity, whereas one Muslim friend explained to me, when you fast, you realize the suffering of others, of the poor who are always hungry, and your heart opens to give, to help others as well. And of course, at the end of the day, after fasting, and we appreciate the significance of food, we're able to go and invite so many people to join us in the Iftar. In the Quran itself, it says that if a person can't fast on Ramadan for whatever reason, in exchange, he can give food to the poor and therefore receive that same spiritual growth. So your connection to God, your connection to the others is deeply intertwined in the Ramadan. And I like to tell a story about generosity in the Ramadan. I was once at a Iftar, the meeting at the end of the Ramadan fast, that was a joint Jewish-Muslim Iftar. It was held on the 17th of the month of Tammuz, which was then a fast day for Jews as well as for Muslims. It came to the end of the day, everyone's ready, waiting to eat, but then we realized there's a problem, because the Jews' fast ends only at what's called Seit Kochavim, the going out of the stars, whereas the Muslims from sunset could already eat. And I remember one of the Muslim dignitaries, Sheikh Abdullah Manasra, say, we will all wait for the Jews to be able to eat so we can eat together. The next day, I was waiting to go to another Iftar with one of my colleagues, also very active in the Agudat HaMifkash HaBen-Dati, in the Interfaith Encounter, that Sheikh Abu Khalil, and he came in from Ramallah, and right before sunset, I get a phone call from him that he's stuck somewhere on a street corner, and he's looking for me to come and pick him up. And I realized I haven't yet prayed the afternoon prayer. And I realized that if I do pray that prayer, Abu Khalil will be out in the hot sun and prevented from getting from breaking his fast at the right time. So I decided, I took my car while driving, eyes open. As best as I can, I said the words of prayer to pick up Abu Khalil. So one act of generosity led me to another act of generosity. Now, I'd like to take these discussions to the crisis that we're dealing with today, of the corona, and share with you a prayer that the chief rabbin of Israel has instituted in response to the corona, and I'll try to share this with you in English. God of the first and of the last, God of all creatures, Lord of all generations, He arouses those who sleep and awakens those who slumber. He heals the sick, opens the eyes of the blind, and raises those who are bowed down. We come before you with a bowed head and with a bent stature, and plead. Hundreds of thousands have died. Millions have fallen sick. Save, we beseech thee, O Lord. We entreat thee, O Lord, send prosperity. Send complete recovery to the sick. Avert the plague from your world. Please, God, you have nourished us in famine and provided us with plenty. You have removed us from pestilence and freed us from severe and long-lasting disease. Help us. Until now, your mercy has aided us, and your kindness has not abandoned us. Therefore, we plead and request before you to heal us. Lord, and we will be healed. Save us, and we will be saved, for you are our glory. I'd like to add a personal prayer. Suffering is one of the greatest teachers. My prayer and hope is in this crisis of Corona, we will have the wisdom to take the right teachings, to learn from the Corona what this has taught us about our common humanity, to learn what this has taught us about our common responsibility, what it has taught us about our dependency upon one another, about the sacredness of life, and also Corona teaches us about humility in the face of forces not under our control that are greater than us. I would like to end with my gratitude to Dr. Yehuda Stolov and Carolina for leading the Interfaith Encounter and so many of the activities that I've been privileged to be part of. Ramadan Kareem.
I would like to invite our guest, Father Rafik Nahra from Latin Patriarchy, the responsible for Hebrew-speaking Catholics, to bless this Iftar.
Good evening to everybody. مساء الخير للجميع. رمضان كريم إن شاء الله بالبركات عليكم جميعا، الأطفال والآباء والأمهات والختيارية. إن شاء الله تكون السنة يكون هالعيد بركة عليكم جميعا. I give all my greetings to all our friends who are Muslim. This period of prayer, fasting and charity, salat, sawm, zakat, is a blessing for everybody. You know that this is a common thing to the three religions, to Jews, to Muslims, to Christians, to fast, pray and do charity, to help the poor. And this year particularly, all my greetings to our friends Muslim, because I think fasting has a different signification with this period in which many people are poor, many people have lost their jobs. And I think that fasting today is to be close to all those who are suffering, and may it be an occasion also to share with all those who are poor, to give them a little bit of joy in this moment of Iftar. To accompany my greetings, I would like to read a short text from our Christian tradition, St. Peter Chrysologus, who speaks about fasting, prayer and charity, because I think that it's full of meaning for all of us. He says, "There are three things, my brothers and sisters, by which faith stands firm, devotion remains constant, and virtue endures. They are prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Prayer knocks at the door. Fasting obtains, mercy receives. Prayer, mercy, and fasting, these three are one, and they give life to each other. So if you pray, fast. If you fast, show mercy. If you want your petition to be heard, hear the petition of others. If you do not close your ear to others, you open God's ear to yourself. When you fast, see the fasting of others. If you want God to know that you are hungry, know that another is hungry. If you hope for mercy, show mercy. If you look for kindness, show kindness. If you want to receive, give. If you ask for yourself what you deny to others, your asking is a mockery. Offer your soul to God. Make Him an oblation of your fasting, so that your soul may be a pure offering, a holy sacrifice, a living victim. But to make these acceptable, almsgiving, charity, must be added. Fasting bears no fruit unless it is watered by mercy. Fasting dries up when mercy dries up. Mercy is for fasting, as rain is to earth. الرحمة للصيام هي كما المطر للأرض. However much you may cultivate your heart, clear the soil of your nature. When you fast, if your mercy is thin, your harvest will be thin. When you fast, what you pour out in almsgiving overflows into your barn. I want to end with a short prayer that can be the prayer of every one of all of us. أبانا الذي في السماوات ليتقدس اسمك ليأتي ملكوتك لتكن مشيئتك كما في السماء كذلك على الأرض. أعطنا خبزنا كفاف يومنا واغفر لنا ذنوبنا وخطايانا كما نحن نغفر لمن خطئ إلينا ولا تدخلنا في التجارب لكن نجنا من الشرير. آمين.
Thank you. I would like to invite Sheikh Hafiz Abdullah from London to tell us, what is Ramadan all about?
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. Shalom. This is Hafiz Abdullah Muhammad from the Quran Study Group in London. I would like to welcome everybody joining this online Iftar program organized by the Interfaith Encounter Association in Jerusalem. I would like to thank Dr. Yehuda Stolov, its director, and the Tower of David Museum for organizing this event. This is my second time participating in this event. Last year, I was privileged to join in person live in Jerusalem when we celebrated Iftar with communities from different backgrounds joining this event. So we had Jews, we had Christians, we had Muslims, we had Druze, and we had members from other communities joining in the gathering. I will be making a presentation about what is Ramadan and why Muslims fast. First, a few words about the Islamic calendar. The Islamic calendar is dated from the event of the Hijrah, which is the migration of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from Mecca to Medina in the year 622 CE. Hence, it is known as the Hijri calendar. We are now in the year 1441 after the Hijrah. Like the Jewish calendar, the Islamic calendar is based on the lunar calendar, which consists of 354 to 355 days a year, and is 10 to 11 days shorter than the solar Gregorian calendar. There are 12 months in the Islamic calendar, which are determined by the actual sighting of the moon. Interestingly, the English word month comes from the word moon. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. Ramadan is the greatest month in the Islamic calendar and the only month mentioned by name in the Quran in chapter 2 verse 185, as we shall see later. The word Ramadan comes from the word Ramadah, which means intense heat. And it is said that the Arabian months were named according to the seasons they fell. And when Ramadan was first named, it coincided with the summer months of intense heat. Some scholars have said that due to fasting, the temperature within the body increases, hence there is an element of heat involved. Others have also explained that just as strong heat burns, so in the same way Ramadan fasting burns away the sins of the fasting person. This is the reference to Ramadan in the Quran, chapter 2 verse 185. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم. The month of Ramadan is that in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for the people and clear proofs of guidance and criterion. So whoever sights the new moon of the month, let him fast. The blessings of Ramadan. The Quran was first sent down during Ramadan in a special night called Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, which appears at the end of Ramadan, in one of the odd nights of the last 10 days of Ramadan. Muslims fast from dawn to dusk in this month, and they do extra acts of worship because the rewards are greatly multiplied in this month. Other than fasting, Muslims try to recite the whole Quran, spend the night in prayers, and especially become charitable to empathize with the poor and needy around the world, not only through the act of fasting, but also in actual spending. In a prophetic tradition, we are told when the month of Ramadan starts, the gates of heaven are opened, the gates of hell are closed, and the chains are put on the devils. Fasting in Ramadan. Like the other communities before them, Allah orders the Muslims to fast in Ramadan. So in chapter 2, verse 183, the Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. All those who believe, the fasts have been enjoined upon you, as they were enjoined upon those before you, so that you may be God-fearing. So this fasting, in Arabic, Sawm or Siyam, is a hidden act of worship. The second act of worship after the prayers, and the fourth pillar of Islam amongst the famous 5 pillars of Islam. Fasting was first made obligatory in the second year after the Hijrah in Medina, and the Prophet himself observed 9 Ramadans in his lifetime. A fasting person is praised in the Quran in the following words: وَالصَّائِمِينَ وَالصَّائِمَاتِ أَعَدَّ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةً وَأَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. And the fasting men and the fasting women, Allah has prepared for them forgiveness and a mighty reward. Fasting appears in different religions in different forms. The Quran itself tells us that before the Muslims were ordered to fast, the people before them were also ordered, in chapter 2, verse 183, as we saw earlier. Hence, we find remnants of fasting in all major religions in different forms. The Quran itself tells us that when Mary was given birth to Jesus, she was fasting. Chapter 19, verse 26 of the Quran. The Bible says that Moses fasted for 40 days, and so did Elijah, David, and Daniel. And the most important Jewish fast, as you know, is the Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement. The New Testament tells us that Jesus also fasted for 40 days before his ministry. And he is reported to have said, when you go and do fasting, do not put on a sad face like the show-offs do. They go around with a hungry look, so everybody knows and will be sure to see that they are fasting. Remember, they have been paid in full. When you go without food, wash your face and you comb your hair, so that the others cannot know that you are fasting. This is recorded in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Why do we fast? What is the objective of fasting? In the verse prescribing fasting, Allah says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may develop God consciousness, taqwa, which is to be conscious of God at all times, fulfilling His commandments, and deliberately avoiding the things which He has forbidden. Thus, taqwa is the inner psychological awareness of a Muslim for God, and as pointed by the Prophet, it is something that is residing in the heart. A person becomes close to God with taqwa and not through any rank or status. As the Quran says, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Chapter 49, verse 13. Surely most honorable of you in the sight of God is the one who is the most God conscious. We learn patience, gratitude, and sacrifice through fasting. Fasting is an act which symbolizes abstinence from sins and a willingness to sacrifice even the lawful things for the sake of God. When a person gives up food and drink, they realize how much they are in need of God's provision on which their existence depends and which is very often taken for granted. It is an opportunity for the person to be grateful to God for all the many blessings He has given us. At the same time, one will empathize with the poor and needy, and it will encourage one to help them. Fasting is also a synonym for patience, sabr, as it develops self-restraint and strong willpower. The Prophet ﷺ, he said that Ramadan is Shahr al-Sabr, the month of patience. There are many other benefits of fasting. There are spiritual, moral, psychological, and social advantages. Fasting develops inner peace. It is an excellent spiritual training in obedience to God, and it also trains the mind to deal with crisis, anger, thirst, hunger, greed, and lust. Fasting promotes unity and equality, charity and generosity, and it encourages community feeling of sharing responsibility and solidarity. Physical and medical benefits of fasting include elimination of harmful fatty acids from the blood, helping to cure certain types of intestinal and stomach ailments, and the renewal of body tissues. There are many rules of fasting in Islam. So there are no food or drink or marital relations between dawn and dusk. A light pre-dawn meal called suhoor is eaten before starting the fast. The fast is broken at sunset with iftar, which is traditionally with dates and water, and a special night prayer called tarawih is made in the night time, where preferably the entire Quran is recited over the month in prayers from memory by the Imam leading the prayers. The worship at night becomes intense in the last 10 nights of Ramadan as Muslims search for the night of power, and many stay in seclusion, i'tikaf, in the mosques to focus on God and personal acts of worship. Certain people are exempt from fasting, such as the aged and the frail, menstruating women, and those too ill to fast. Those who can't fast in Ramadan, they are encouraged to make up the fast after Ramadan. And those who are unable to do so have to feed the poor and needy in compensation. Muslims also do voluntary fasts throughout the year after Ramadan, such as on the days of Arafat and Ashura, the 3 middle days of each month, and on weekly on Mondays and Thursdays in imitation of the Prophet. After Ramadan, Muslims celebrate Eid, which is a day of celebration, to mark the end of Ramadan in celebration and gratitude to God. As the verse on Ramadan, he ends by saying he desires that you should complete the number of fasts and that you should exalt the greatness of Allah for him guiding you, and that you may give thanks. So the spirit of fasting is continued into the next month by voluntary fasting for 6 days in the month of Shawwal, and giving charity zakat al-fitr to the poor and needy before the Eid prayers, so that they too can join in the celebration. The Prophet said, whoever fasted during Ramadan and then fasts for another 6 days in the following month will be rewarded as if he has fasted for the whole year. This is because in Islam, every good deed is multiplied minimum 10 times. So 13 days of Ramadan and 6 days of Shawwal, and if you times it by 10, is 360 days, which is the average number of days in the year. So we end this with this traditional dua at breaking the fast during Iftar. Allahumma inni laka sumtu wa bika amantu wa alayka tawakkaltu wa ala rizqika aftartu. Oh Allah, I fasted for you, I believe in you, and I put my trust in you, and I break from my fast with your sustenance. Thank you. Shukran jazila, toda, and Ramadan Mubarak.
thank you very much for joining us this evening and looking forward to seeing you again next year, hopefully physically.
So thank you, Dr. Stolov, and thank you for the Interfaith Encounter Association. Of course, we want to thank you for being with us this evening, this Iftar. I would like to send our greetings from Jerusalem, and I hope and pray to meet you next year here at the Tower of David in Jerusalem, and with good health. And of course, I would like to add the very famous sentence from, in Ivrit we say, L'shana haba'ah b'Yerushalayim, which means next time in Jerusalem. I would like to thank the Tower of David Museum staff. Thank you, Tamar Berliner and Neta Heller. Thank you, our oud player, Gal Hever, and our photographer, Ziv Kessel. Next year in Jerusalem, Ramadan Kareem, and good evening to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.